Okay, because I allow the students in my in-class class to actually go online.
In one of our readings, this author says, the dominant paradigm of schooling offers us the antithesis of community. With college students, okay, is it as important for them to feel that sense of community as it is in, say, high school?
I think it's even more important to engage your students because reality is this is their last chance before they go out into the real world. And part of business, you have to feel like you're a part of the community. You have to understand what it means to be a team player and a part of that whole existence.
Games that you have created online for your students to engage in? Anything fun?
We have all kind of games out there. Now sometimes I'll play the game in the classroom. Teams. I even break the students up into teams and so forth, and we play the games that are actually available for us from the book company.
To offer incentives to your students to, say, go beyond the norm and do a little extra.
And I build my incentives into every class. And the types of things that I put within that is for extra learning, because learning is truly changing your behavior. That's when you know you truly have learned. We have been able to team with Disney. And Disney actually comes to Cincinnati State once a year. And with Disney comes the executive vice presidents and so forth. And they have tremendous amount of knowledge on all the different subjects and so forth. And I really don't think my students would have ever taken time to read any of the articles. And they may not be related to management or marketing or ethics, but they're related to life. Every one of them is related to life. And you know, Disney has some of the best training that you can get. Absolutely. And so for the extra credit, they have to actually read the articles and summarize the article. The one on time management is a 37-page article. But every student that has ever read that, they always say this is the best thing that has ever happened to them in their entire life. So I don't try to come up with a lot of things. I try to find out there what's already out there. And I try to find the best that's out there, and then I try to present it to the students in some form or fashion.
Let's go back to the beginning. Okay. How would you describe your teaching philosophy?
You know, that's an interesting thing. My teaching philosophy. I don't really see myself as a teacher. I see myself more as a coach or a mentor. I believe that my job is, especially to give an example, in my ethics course, everyone comes in with some level of ethics. My goal is to raise you to a higher level than when you walked in the door. Some students may move faster than others. They may have to be more ethical at the end, but everybody is going to be raised to another level. And that's what I see. Wherever a student's at, I want to move them up to the next level or the next level. So I don't see myself as teaching, more as coaching.
You see, that's what all teachers are supposed to do, to take their students at the level that they enter the classroom and make sure when they leave, they've raised the bar for them and they have increased their level of understanding.
Yes, because it's laid out. This is what you must learn before you get out of this class. And learning is, like I said, changing a behavior. So yes, I think.
So, okay, what are students supposed to do? What do you think their responsibility is?
that a student's responsibility is to be there because they want to be there. Your responsibility is to be there, be ready for the class, and be prepared and be open-minded when you walk in and expect something. I believe a student has a right, if an instructor's not giving them anything, to let the instructor know, and the assistant should be expecting something. It's not about just getting through the class. It's about learning. I think every person in the class brings something. They bring something to the class because each of us were individuals. And since we have many older students in our population, it's just amazing the experiences that the students have. And I think now that's one thing you really don't get a feel for in an online class that you would in the classroom, because you do grow. You grow from the other experiences that the students have. I think just from your last comments, it's very clear because I have a very similar population in my classes that I teach. Very non-traditional, older, in their 40s, you know, some with children, some with families. I do have to cater to a wide variety of students from seniors all the way to freshmen. When you were in college, let's talk about some of your past experiences. Do you remember maybe any teacher that stood out in your mind, or any class that you took that maybe has been your favorite, that you really, really enjoyed about college? The community. I really did. And where did you go to school? I went to school at Fisk University. It was a little different because I had come from a very large school that happened to be Princeton High School. And at that time, there was very few minorities at Princeton High School. In fact, I remember 3 students in my class, you know, all the way from freshman through senior year. So going to Fisk University was utopia to me. I will actually say that. I remember that because I had never felt like I was a majority. And when I went to Fisk, I was a majority. And so the whole atmosphere to me around Fisk was so important. But what did concern me, because Fisk was such a small school, I was concerned when I went to get my master's at Xavier, did I learn what I needed to learn? Did the teachers teach me what I need? Did I absorb the information? But when I went to Xavier, it was like easy compared to Fisk. Fisk was hard. Xavier was easy. And I thought it would be just the opposite. I really did. You feel as if because it was an HBCU, that your teachers were a little tougher on you? Well, I had never gone to any other college setting, so I didn't know they were tougher on me until I went to Xavier. And then I said, wow, you know, I really have absorbed and learned so much. I didn't know it. I thought this was the norm. Did not know. That's probably part of their legacy. That they over-prepared you. Right. And then once you got to Xavier, you were right, either at the level or above. Right. Did you feel that way? What do you think was missing in your education? I'd say in high school, attention. I felt because we were a very large school, 600 students graduated. I think that in high school, that's what I saw. And I didn't realize how I missed the personal attention until I went to a smaller school and I saw the personal attention. So you really don't know what you've missed if you've never been anywhere else or been exposed to anything else. But that's what I see, the personal attention. Recorded all of his lectures and I put them into my class so the students can hear me lecture, but they can also hear a different perspective. Right. In that class also I use videos, and the videos are actually set up actual cases that managers would have to deal with, and the students have to actually go through and analyze the cases, determine what's the best way, and so forth. So I've got a really good library of videos that I use. But I also make those videos available for my online classes when I teach it online also. So, and the other thing now, the difference in the classroom that I see than online is this. In the classroom, you can get some sense of community. because you're all together, you're talking, especially if I'm teaching an ethics class, you know, you get the feelings and the emotion and so forth. The other problem with online students is the feedback you have to give them for tests. Many times you don't let them see the answers, they just get the results.
Do you feel like the students feel more engaged when they're doing these online courses, when they get to do these Illuminate and blogs and discussion boards and things like
yes,
that?
Yes, they do. But I think the most important thing for online classes is not the students feeling engaged, it's the professor answering the students' questions as quickly as possible.
Discusses the terminology radical pedagogy, in which he allows students in his classrooms to learn from each other and to lead the discussions, create meaningful questions, questions that are relevant to them, so that they can create a social interaction that will elicit the kind of responses that are required for learning in that class. The backgrounds, and ethnicities, gender, all those little nuances of their fellow students, so that not just the outgoing students will be giving all the answers, that they'll be able to engage even the more minor. Are there some ways that you might practice radical pedagogy?
In my business ethics class, I use that concept, especially when we talk about some very touchy situations such as immigration or discrimination and so forth. And I'll just give you an example. So that my students can understand the concept behind discrimination. And every student, I go around and I ask them what's their nationality and what are the derogatory type words that are related to yours. So it's interesting because the Italians know what it is, African Americans know, the Polish, and they tell the jokes and so forth. But the reason it's acceptable is because this individual happens to be that nationality and they understand, what others are saying about them. So that just kind of opens up the whole classroom for us to talk about. But many of them, actually stick to the types of stereotypes that are out there. And that class can go on forever. I have to stop the class. The main thing about it is, by the time we're finished with talking about something that's serious, everybody has a much more of appreciation for everyone else in the class. And it changes many times their views, and that's what we're trying to do, change behavior.
I would have to agree that in that class, those students really felt a sense of community. How do we prepare our students to be good citizens?
If you're willing to give back to society before you graduate, you'll probably be a much better employee. And I don't think you'll stay as a faculty member unless you truly love what you're doing. It's not easy. It really isn't. You have to truly love what you're doing.
And love your students.
And that's the truth, yeah.